Hello everyone, this is Jay Noble back at it again with another video. Today I have a really cool video for you all. We just had our local coin show here in my area today, and it's also going on tomorrow. But I went there and took a look around, and there was about 70 booths. It was a pretty good turnout. There was a lot of people there. A lot of talks about, gold and silver being so high, and it definitely, I could tell that it was buzzing there, and it was pretty cool to see a lot of people there. But I was able to score a pretty cool coin. It's a coin that I've been looking for on and on for the past few years. It wasn't high on my list, but um, it's still a really cool coin. It goes perfect with another coin that I purchased. But this is a 1942 over 1 Denver minted Mercury dime. And it's graded PCGS XF40. Now, what's cool about this coin is that they're also in 1942 in Philadelphia. They had an overdate that was even stronger than this one. This one you really need a magnifying glass to see the overdate because it's not as strong. But I also have this 1942 over 1 right here. This is the Philly, and it's also graded PCGS XF40, so the exact same grade. And this overdate is much stronger. As you can see with the naked eye, zoom in. The 2 and the 1, there's a 1 over the 2. You can see that right there. You can see the 1 over the 2. So this is a really good example, but I wanted the Denver because it goes with it well. This was a really nice coin overall. Had a really nice eye appeal to it. Even had a little bit of luster. Definitely hasn't been cleaned, but it was well preserved, and I was really happy to score this coin. And the dealer I got it from, he was really willing to wheel and deal with others, which was pretty rare to see. He wanted $600 for this coin, which was actually a fairly decent deal because I looked at the prices or recent auctions, which there weren't that many recent auctions for this coin in XF40, but the last one that sold for over 700, which was a little high. The one before that sold for a little over 600. And I looked at ones that were graded VF35, and they were running between about 5 and 550. And I offered him 550 for the coin. He accepted it. He didn't even try to haggle even more. So he was. I thought that was a really good price on this coin because it's a really nice example for the grade. And I really do like the coin overall. And I think it pairs really well with the 42 over 1 Philly. And this is a really cool little 2 coin error set / variety. And these overdates are kind of hard to get, and especially on the 42 over 1 Philly, that's a really strong overdate. It's one of the biggest overdates I've ever seen especially on a Mercury dime. It's probably the best by far. So these are really cool coins to look out for, and they're not super expensive. You can get both of these for about the same price. The 42 over 1D is actually a little bit rarer. The estimate survival rate was only 3,000 of these notes, so that's not that many. And the 42 over 1 Philly, the estimated survival rate's a little bit more at 3,500. But the 42 over 1 Philly, I feel like it is worth just a hair more. But they are pretty similar. But it's just because this one's more recognizable. Yeah, this one is worth more. They've been running between about upper 600s to even as much as $800 in the same grade. So this one, running closer to that 650 to 750 mark. Well, this one's slightly cheaper at more of the 600, low 600s. But there are fewer of these graded for sure, and there's a lot fewer of them on the market. So this is a cool variety to look out for, and I was really happy to score it at our local coin show. And the guy really did have some good deals on some other coins, and I was going to pull the trigger, but I decided not to because there was some issues I saw with the coin. Even though it's graded, when you're going to a coin show, my advice is when you're looking at coins, even if it's been graded, look it over really closely anyway before you buy it. Because I was looking at a 1914D from the same buyer. It was graded NGC AU53, and it looked really good at first. And I looked it over, and I was like, and he was willing to only take $1,200 for the coin, which was actually pretty low. Like, the last ones that had sold were closer to the $1,400 range, but they had been selling basically between $1,200 and $1,400. So he's at the low end. But when I looked at the coin closely in the date, I saw a lot of white, and it looked like there had been some corrosion on the coin. And it was probably when it was graded, it hadn't shown, but copper can, oxidize over time and change, and you can get some of that environmental corrosive damage over time. And on the date, it had this like white look to it in between the letters and stuff. And it just, if you crack that coin out and regrade it probably would get a details grading. And that can happen, especially on your copper coins. They can really change how they look over time because copper is really reactive. So you got to be careful, especially if you're able to buy it in person. I really think it's good to look at the coin closely, especially if you're going to be spending, $1,000+ But I guess I'll take this time to also just talk about the coin show in general. I thought it was a good coin show overall. They had a really good crowd today, which was really nice to see. But I did notice, I was looking for a 1916D Mercury 9, and I've had this same problem every year when I'm looking for when I'm looking for a particular coin, and it's usually more that high-end coin, the deals just weren't there. I mean, I had a dealer that wanted for an AG3, it was CAC, but he's wanting like $1,150 for it, and non-CAC examples were going for like $700-800 tops. Even with the CAC sticker, yeah, it does help, but when you get into the good fours, he's basically asking for a good four price on a coin that was AG3. So, and there were a lot of others. I saw some other AG3s, and they were wanting like $1,000 for non-CAC ones, which was just a solid $200 more than what they were worth. So that's kind of what the going rate was. And I didn't find a lot of the coins I was looking for. They had a few $3 gold coins, but most of them weren't graded, and they were wanting a lot for them raw. And there was one that was graded but was detailed. So that's the thing about these smaller coin shows. Yeah, we had 70 tables, but your variety is going to be a little bit less. And if you're looking for a particular coin, especially a high-end coin, like I was also looking for a 1795 flowing hair dollar. I didn't even see that coin. I was also looking for a 1907 high relief $20 gold piece, and that wasn't there. And I really wasn't expecting to see those, but it would have been cool to at least see one, either one of those. But yeah, that's just basically how it went at the show. But they did have a decent variety. There were some high-end coins there, but when you're going to a coin show, you really have to weed out the sellers, because some of them, I just feel like they're there to show off their collections at the end of the day. Because I'll ask prices, and they're always full-blown retail, more towards the high-end book value of the coin rather than what they're really selling for. And this is what I've had a problem with throughout my time going to these coin shows and going to these dealers, is that it just doesn't feel like they're really wanting to sell their coins. So I'd love to hear your all's thoughts. What's your experience at your local coin shows in your area? We just don't have much to choose from, so I think maybe that's why they're willing to charge a little bit more, because, a lot of people, like, within 100 miles, this is the closest coin show. We just don't have any that are anywhere near us, and this is only once a year, this coin show, so maybe they think they can get higher prices because of that. But I'd love to hear your all's thoughts. I'm really glad I was able to score one coin. I think this is 3 or 4 years in a row that I've actually scored a coin at the coin show, which is really nice. I was kind of able to finish a little mini set here. Definitely some cool coins to look out for, guys, and they are affordable. In the XF range, you can get both these coins for, $600 a piece, maybe $600, $650, $700. But that's not crazy for a really cool variety that there are very few of. Around that 3,000, 3,500 a piece, that is super small. A lot rarer than the 16D. So that's saying something. But really cool little varieties to look out for. But I was pretty happy with the coin show overall. And if anyone has any local coin shows in their area, I'd love to hear your all's thoughts on them. Were the dealers friendly? Were they able to wheel and deal? Were they giving reasonable prices, or were a lot of them too high? Overall, most of them were too high, but there were a few, especially this guy I bought this coin from. He had the best pricing by far on his coins. And he wasn't even from our area. He was probably a 7-hour drive from us. So I think when he's coming that far, he was really pricing to sell because he wanted to make something. So, but I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts in the comments below, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.